Dear students, in today's lecture we will discuss human resource planning. Let's first define human resource planning. The human resource planning is the process of getting right number of qualified people at right job and at right time. We can say that HRP is viewed as the foreseeing the human source requirements of the business organization and supply of human resources. Sometimes HRP is also referred to as manpower planning. So, to achieve the organization goals, human resource planning forecasts the future human resource requirements of the organization, and it determines how the existing human resources can be fully utilized. So we can say that proper utilization of human sources is also a part of human source planning. As we also know that overstaffing or the understaffing create productivity issues for the business organization. So human source planning plays a very important role in overcoming these issues of overstaffing and understaffing of employees within the organization. So this is the human resource planning process. So we will discuss each stage in a stepwise manner. The first is scanning of business environment. The HRP process starts with the scanning of the external business environment. So various external factors like economy, technology, then demographic, political and social factors are monitored. The scanning enables the business organization to identify various changes that will impact the human resource planning processes. So after scanning of external environment, the organizational objectives are framed, and based on these organizational objectives, the HRP policies are developed. The organizational objectives also specify the requirement and skills of human resources for future. Then HR demand forecasting estimates the future quantity and quality of people required. The demand forecasting of manpower will depend upon the growth rate of the business organization, then the available of finances with the organization, or the adoption of latest technology. So for demand forecasting, we apply various methods like ratio analysis, trend analysis, then managerial judgments and Delphi techniques to reach the accurate decision making. Once the demand forecasting of manpower is estimated, the next step for organization is to identify how the manpower requirements will be met. What will be the sources for procurement or the supply of manpower? So the sources of supply of manpower can be internal in the form of promotions or transfers, or it can be through some external medium. Next comes HR programming, human resource programming. So once both demand and supply of manpower are forecasted by the business organization, the process of filling right number of employees at right time is initiated. Next comes the human resource planning implementation. So in this stage, the recruitment, selection and placement processes are carried by the business organization. The training, development and redeployment of employees are also done to prepare them for next levels, or we can say the process of succession planning takes place at this implementation stage. And the last stage is the final stage is evaluation and control. So based on the budget available, the targets and the set standards of the organization, the evaluation of this whole process or the previous stages is done. At this stage, the number of employees engaged the establishments are verified, and after this the shortage and surplus of manpower is also identified. If there is shortage of manpower, then the business organization may go for new recruitment and selection processes, and in case there is a surplus of manpower, then the business organizations may go for layoffs or VRS, that is voluntary retirement schemes. So these are the stages of human resource planning process. The human resource planning suffers from certain barriers which influence its working. Number one is inaccurate forecast. As we know that the human resource planning involves forecasting the demand and supply of human sources. So the effectiveness of planning depends upon the accuracy of these forecasts of manpower. Second is lack of top management support. The manpower planning requires full and we can say wholehearted support from the top management. In the absence of the support from top management, it is not possible for human source planning to work in a proper manner. Next is employee resistance. The employees and their trade unions often resist or oppose the human source planning process. They feel that this planning, this human source planning will increase their overall workload. They also feel that it would lead to widespread unemployment, especially for unskilled labor. Next is management information system. The effectiveness of planning depends upon the reliability of the information system, that is reliability of the MIS, management information system. In many of the industries, the human resource management information system is not fully developed, so there is an absence of reliable data which affects the working of human resource planning. Next comes improper training. The employees are not fully trained to deal with the problems of human resource planning, which acts as a barrier to it. Uncertain circumstances. It is it is risky to depend upon general estimates of manpower in the face of rapid changes in the business environment and due to globalization or technology upgradation. The absenteeism, turnover, or we can say the seasonal employment and market fluctuation are various uncertainties which hamper the growth, which hamper the working of human resource planning. Next is lack of coordination. There is a if there is absence of coordination between various departments of the business organization, the human resource planning fails to achieve its objectives. And the last is it's a time consuming process and involves lot of finance. So we can say it's a expensive process, and the companies or the business organization often resist from human resource planning or manpower planning, as it would increase their costs and will exceed their budget. So these are the barriers which affect the working of human resource planning.